I picked the Chiefs to win the AFC West. I'd said even though Tyreek isn't there, sure, that's a notable loss. But as long as they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I expect this operation to still be pretty buttoned up. And
Mm-hmm.
sure, if there was any doubt, Mahomes got silenced that week one, throwing 5 touchdowns. So in terms of Kelsey, who is the proclaimed number one target, I think it's definitely going to be Derwin James being the guy thrown on him. It's well documented. He's had success in the past, and the Chargers, late into that in the fourth quarter in week one, they even just put up one-on-one to go cover Devontae Adams. So without JC out there, Asante got most of the snaps, but when the game, was under the most pressure and under the bright lights, it was like they turned to Derwin to be that guy. So I think he's going to see a lot of snaps against Travis Kelsey, and rightfully so. And I'm sure it's gonna be one of those intense battles like we've seen before. Arguably the best safety in the league and arguably the best tight end in the league. So I'm sure each guy is going to have his moments where he's outdoing the other.
Yeah, 100%. And two quick thoughts off that. One, I think, and this is a double-edged sword, the Chiefs are still figuring out who's going to have like the targets each week and who's going to fit where. But like defensively, it's too early to game plan for that, I think. Like you can know players' strengths and weaknesses, but the same Juju stuff in Pittsburgh is not necessarily a one-to-one. MVS is not a one-to-one. McCole Hardman, still his role and his snaps and his usage sometimes changes every once in a while. So now you have, and Staley said it, I believe on Tuesday or Wednesday, Jody Fortson's getting involved. They'll have the fullback in there. They'll put Clyde Edwards-Helaire at fullback in motion pre-snap. Like I would not get any sleep game week if I had to prep for the Chiefs, even this year. I know last year it was tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough one, man. But I guess when you have two of the best pass rushers in the league, do you worry about them? Or I think nothing against Orlando Brown Jr. or Andrew Wiley. This is a big week for the Chargers pass rusher. At least it could be, because the Chiefs offensive line didn't perform in pass protection as well as it could have last week.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And I do think the Chiefs are going to hold up much better against this Chargers pass rush than the Raiders did, because the Raiders offensive line is just kind of a revolving door right now. But Khalil said after the game, excuse me, not after the game. He said this week when asking him about how he, self-assessed his performance, and he led week one in sacks with 3, and he said, I left a lot out there. There's a lot of things that I can't even clean up, which, I felt like us reporters kind of were taken back a little bit. Like,
it's like, okay, show off. Like, okay,
yeah, but it'll be interesting how he. What he does in week 2, especially on a short week. As we all know, there's not nearly as much game planning that's kind of put together for these weeks. It's all about kind of flipping the switch and trying to get your body right, and I guess what you can fit into the game plan. But at the same time, I think this pass rush, it's not if, but when it does get home and get to Mahomes. Ideally for the Chargers, not allowing Mahomes to get out of the pocket, because as we all know, while he's not this Lamar Jackson type, Mahomes is extremely dangerous when he gets out and just can create with his legs. For a guy that isn't, the fastest quarterback, he's so shifty, and just his football intelligence with the ball, when pressure gets around him, I think he's one of the best in the league in that area. Similar to Aaron Rodgers when he's able to get out. It's like these guys are not scramblers by any means, but they are deadly when they get out.
Yeah, and I mean Justin Herbert fits that too. Like this is two of the best young players. I like Brendan Staley as a coach. I know that we could have a whole podcast about the analytics and like does he make the right decisions sometimes and blah blah blah. I think this year he's going to be better. I like the way he commands that team. I like the roster a lot. Like a lot of in Chiefs circles this season before the year, it was the Chargers are always going to be the Chargers. They're going to get hurt. They're going to blow games. They're going to do that. I'm like, man, this year might be different. Like I know last year they gave the Chiefs a minor scare. They split those games home and away. I'm thinking a couple months ago, I picked the Chiefs to win on a tiebreaker. say 11-6, 11-6, or 12-5, 12-5. Now I gave the Chiefs one game. I think Chargers 11-6, Chiefs 12-5. I know you said you picked the Chiefs to win it. Was that kind of your logic too, or how close do you think the Chargers are?
I think it's so close. I
Yeah.
think it's so close. I think we're really splitting hairs here, but
Hmm.
there can only be one division winner, and I think that the Chiefs, like you said, they either do it based off the tiebreaker, or maybe they're a game ahead by the season's end. But I think it's going to really come down to the wire, like especially like for this game. I believe the spread is like 3.5 points, especially
Yeah.
on a short week. Like I almost feel like these Thursday night games, a home team, while they're given like 3 points for being played at home, it should almost be even a little more than that, just because of the short week. And the road team on these Thursday night games, they really have Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday they're traveling. Like in a normal week, Monday is a treatment day, Tuesday is an off
Hmm.
day. Like it's like this is not typical. So I expect even for this week, I kind of lean just in favor of the Chiefs just on that premise alone.
Yeah. I'm thinking I've bounced around a little bit. I'll go Chiefs 27, Chargers 24. I think there's going to be a lot of long drives and ball movement. I think a few field goals are going to have to be settled for, some good defensive stands. It's not going to be like a backdoor 27-24. It's not going to be a big blowout that someone catches up. I think they're going to trade blows. They're going to trade haymakers. Herbert and Mahomes are going to throw multiple touchdowns each. Nick, what's your score prediction and winner for the game?
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs, and I don't think it's going to be nearly as. I mean, both these teams put up tons of points last week. I don't think it's going to be quite as high, just because we're
Totally
playing on
agree.
the short week, especially these as you know, Jordan. Like these division matchups usually come down to one score and are usually
Hmm.
pretty tight. So I think I'm looking at something like 20 eh, 28-24. We'll go there.
I like that.